All right. Hey, goddesses. It's been a little while since I've been live with you guys, so thank you for your patience as I've been moving through some changes and some things and some life and all of that life has to offer. Good times. Hey, welcome. It's Wednesday. Let's chat. Let's talk about it. So I posted this meme this morning that said the problem is that we depend on our lovers to love us the way that we must love ourselves. The way that we must love ourselves. And this was a lesson that took me a long time to learn, and it's a lesson that some of you have commented has taken you a little bit of time to learn, and it's a lesson that some of us are still learning, and that's okay. That's okay. That's the whole point of this life thing, is to learn all these lessons. So don't worry if you're there, if you're not there, if you're just hearing this for the first time, but it's all information for us to be thinking about and considering. So let me ask you, when you are in a relationship, who are you without your partner? Okay? When you are in a relationship, who are you without your partner? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I love love. Obviously, I love love. I'm a sexologist. I'm a psychotherapist. I talk about love for a living, right? I love love. It's a good time, right? And I love being in love and sharing that intimacy and being vulnerable. I actually kind of love being vulnerable in a relationship. And that's because that's the one place that I crave being seen. And that's the one place that I think many of us crave being seen is in our relationships, right? We want to be vulnerable. We want to be seen. We want to be loved and cared for and hugged and kissed and all of those unconditional loving things. We want all of those things all the time, which is really, really great, because sharing intimacy is about revealing who we are and revealing what we want. It's about resolving some of our past issues. It's about resolving who we want to be. And it's about reimagining what our lives can look like and what we can create and what we can manifest with one another, right? That is the beautiful part of relationships. Except sometimes, and it took me a little bit to learn this, and as much as you can read about it and do theories about it and teach other people about it, one thing is to teach other people, another thing is to learn it for yourself and go through the motions of it. And it is that expectation of validation that we seek and that we crave in relationships. And that's what I'm talking about. And that's what I'm talking about, that I want to be seen can quickly turn into an expectation of validation. So what we do is we bring and we connect all of those past insecurities, all those insecurities we have in our daily lives about who we are, about what we've experienced in our relationships, what we've, like, intimate or not, right? Friendships, family, all of that stuff. We bring all of that stuff into our relationships, and that creates that expectation of validation. But the thing is that satisfaction of that validation for expectation is all about your ego, right? It is all about, I need you to tell me who I am. I need you to validate for me that I love enough, that I love you hard enough, that I'm worthy of love, right? That's what that expectation of validation is, right? It's going out. It's externally projecting what it is that we desire for ourselves, but we reach out to other people to get it, to achieve it, instead of already being grounded in our knowing of who we are and what we bring to the table, right? So it's that idea of, why don't they love me enough? It's the idea of, why don't they love me in this way? It's the idea of, did I settle in this relationship? Did I settle, or am I settling in that relationship? Or the idea of maybe, did I even do the healing work or through this relationship, before, through, or after this relationship to be ready for the next one, to be ready for the relationships that we deserve to be in, right? And sometimes I find that experience of the expectation of validation comes from the Disney notion of soulmate. Okay, so let's talk about that, because we are raised, especially as goddesses, right? We are raised to believe that we want to meet this one person who we will meet and we will fall in love and connect and be in love forever, and it will be all of this stuff and all of this thing, and that's the rest of our lives, and everything is perfect, and they give me exactly what I need from them, and I give them exactly what they need from me, and everything is wonderful and great, and we could literally just escape together and live on the side of a mountain, and we would be happy for the rest of our lives. That's not true. And those of you who have been through multiple long-term relationships know it's not true. Now, I'm not saying you can't find one person who you love and who you want to spend the rest of your life with and do all of that beautiful growing together and grow through this life together. I'm not saying that that's not possible, because it is. It is possible to find one person, but you have to remember that it is a consistent growth. It is consistently a challenge for you to come to the table and expect to grow. You will not be who you were when you were 21 when you're 41. You just aren't. You aren't the same person. You'll never be the same people. So when you get into these long-term relationships and you find these beautiful other souls who want to kind of figure this out with you, right? It really is a gift. But there's no such thing as just one person in one way that is going to heal you for the rest of your life. You are your own soulmate. First and foremost, you are your number one soulmate. Because you are the one that has to love and live yourself for the rest of your life. You kind of get no choice in that. I mean, like, you get a choice, but we're not going to go there. That's a little too dark for a Wednesday morning. But soulmate, and the idea of soulmate, I like to actually say soulmates. And what I've learned and what I've come to accept as part of my truth is that we are part of a soul community, right? When we come to this earth, when we come to this planet, we have many soulmates. We have many people that we can fall in love with and who help us fill our cup and who help push us to learn and to grow through all of our soul lessons that are the point of us being on this planet. That's kind of how I see it. So, for example, my best friends, I have a group chat that is my soul right there, right? With a couple of my best friends. My best friends are my soulmates, and I literally say that to them, right? My best girlfriends are my soulmates. They have seen me grow, and I have seen them grow, and we have held space and bared witness and done all of that work together, right? I have been in loving, intimate relationships where I thought, okay, this human's really, really cool. Like, we can totally do this. This is really, really great. But, they haven't been people that have stuck around on the long term, and that's okay. Because their purpose was to bring me to now. Their purpose was to teach me how to love myself as my first and foremost primary soulmate, right? So when we are dabbling with this idea of soulmates, we want to remember that, first of all, you are your first soulmate. And secondly, the people that come in and out of our lives are also here for a soul purpose in our life, right? And if you are choosing to be in a loving, beautiful, monogamous relationship with one person for a long period of time, then what you have to do is allow for both of you to grow through it, because neither of you will ever be the same. And neither of you will be the same from one day to the next, and neither do you want to be, right? Because what happens is when we depend on our lovers to love us in the way that we must love ourselves, is that we can lead our relationships to go through what I like to call intimate exhaustion. And intimate exhaustion is really compatible to compassion fatigue. For those of you who understand that language, who understand what compassion fatigue is, right? Intimate exhaustion is very much in the same way. And it's that idea of when you're always nagging at your partner to show up for you, when you're always nagging at your partner to do things for you that you can quite honestly do for yourself, right? When you're nagging at your partner to be this knight, to be this queen, to be this whoever it is that you want them to be or are asking them to be, but they necessarily can't be that for you. And you get tired because it's not fair. It is not fair to depend on one person to be everything for you, because you are so much more than that. You are a multifaceted, beautiful human, right? You have so many parts and aspects of you that need to be fed and that deserve to be fed from multiple different people and avenues and energies and experiences. So it is not fair that if you are multifaceted, to expect one person to be everything for you, because they are also allowed to be multifaceted. So it is about awareness. There's this really great meme flying around, and I wanted to share it because the awareness that these words bring are really powerful. So the meme says, number 1, your lover is allowed to have meaningful relationships with other people. Your lover is allowed to have meaningful relationships with other people. And so are you, right? We need to have friendships. With our family members, with other people, with our work colleagues, we need other people in our lives. You and your partner need to have a social life in order for the relationship to continue to grow and be successful. Okay, so that's the first piece of it, right? Second thing, your lover is allowed to get things from those relationships that they don't get from you. It's a big thing, right? Your lover is allowed to get things from those relationships that they don't get from you. You don't have to be everything for one person or for everyone. And they don't have to be everything for you also. Nor are they supposed to be, and nor can they always show up to be, because we're all kind of dealing with some stuff sometimes, right? We all need to be allowed to process. And the third thing from that meme that I really love that it says is, demanding to be the only source of pleasure or support from one person, from your lover, is possessive and toxic. Demanding to be the only source of pleasure and support is possessive and toxic. So, for example, I've heard from people who have been in relationships before. So I knew this woman who would get mad when their partner talked to their sister about things. I knew a person like that. And they would get mad because instead of the partner coming to them, they were going to their partner to talk about things. But so then I asked them, well, does your partner share these conversations with you? Do you both create a safe space for the both of you to have these conversations? And they said, yeah, sure, absolutely. I was like, great. So then what's the problem with your partner going out and seeking an alternate perspective and seeking safety and security and learning that for themselves from someone who they care and love about and who cares and loves them as much as they love themselves from someone like their sister, right? So these are the kinds of things that I'm asking you to challenge about yourself in your relationships. So where to start? Right? Where to start? If you're thinking about this and you've kind of been, awareness, why am I putting so much pressure on my relationship and on my partner to be everything for me, right? Why am I intimately exhausted in my current relationships, because I'm exhausted, and I'm experiencing intimate exhaustion. Some of you, like I said, may know it as compassion fatigue in our relationships. So where do you start? Well, step number one, but step number one is awareness, right? So awareness is about looking at yourself and how you contribute to the relationship and how the relationship contributes to you in your life. So be honest. What do you want out of your relationship? Who are they, and what can they feasibly bring to the table? And ask yourself, do you depend on your partner to create happiness for you? Do you depend on your partner to create happiness for you? If the answer is yes, then you need to keep listening, because your partner is not where happiness comes from. Your partner can be a source of happiness, the experience of it, but it is not where it comes from. It comes from you, and it comes from your choice to be happy. Okay? So if you're kind of sitting in this place of awareness right now, what I want you to do is ask yourself, what do you love about your partner now? Okay? What do you love about them? What do they bring to the table? Do you underestimate them? And do you underestimate or overlook what your partner brings? And then I want you to do the same thing for you. What do you love about yourself now? And do you underestimate what you bring to the table? Right? What is the value that you bring to your relationship? So that's first one, all in awareness. Awareness is a big step, okay? Step number 2 is shift. You know, I love that word. I love the word shift. It might be one of my 2019 words, but shifting after you've established awareness is about the fact that it's time to learn who you are, okay? It is time to learn who you are and what turns you on. When was the last time you asked yourself that? What turns you on? And I'm not talking about just sex. I mean, sometimes I'm talking about just sex, right? Sometimes it is really, really great. And we got to have those conversations too. But it's about life in general, and it's about the relationships in general, right? What turns you on in your relationship? Because we need to release our expectations that we want our partners to change. If you are in a relationship and you want your partner to change, you need to leave that relationship, because they're not going to change and you're not going to change. So instead of sitting in this like limbo, head-to-head kind of, crossroads, just leave. Trust me. Because no one's going to change. No one wants to change, right? We are sometimes who we are, and we grow and we evolve and we do all these things. But if you were staring at your partner and you're thinking about them right now and you're saying, man, I wish you would just change. Maybe you're the one who needs to shift. Maybe you're the one who needs to change. And that might be out of that relationship. Because we need to enter into our relationships in loving who they are 111%. And we need to enter into relationships loving ourselves 111%. Number 3, action. So action is about now finding that love for ourselves. Action is about starting to depend on ourself as our primary lover. So do you self-pleasure? What does your self-pleasure look like? And I'm not just talking about masturbation. Yes, masturbate, touch yourself, lovingly do all that stuff. But self-pleasure is about how we bring pleasure and feed our desires for ourselves in our lives, right? So if you want chocolate, eat the chocolate. If you want to go to the yoga class, go to the yoga class. If you want to take an art class, take an art class. If you want to go out for wine with your ladies because you need some lady time, go and do it. right? So sign up for the classes. Make the date with your partner, right? If you want to go on a special date with your loved one, right, then do it. Set it up. Make the reservation, right? Lead by example in your relationship. Turn yourself on. Choose to turn your relationship on. Because like I've said before, if they aren't enough, then change the game you're playing. Number 4, nurture your community. Really important. Really important to nurture our communities. Many women that I know or that I've seen in therapy tell me that once they got into a relationship, that they lost all of their friendships. Now, why is that? Why is that as we get into relationships that we lose our friendships? Sometimes it's because those friendships were toxic. So we need to lose those relationships, right? We need to sometimes clear the air and make some room and make some space for some newness to come in. And that's okay, right? That's totally okay. But sometimes we get into these relationships and we put so much pressure on who we are and who we need to be and what that needs to mean for us in our lives, that we forget that there is a whole world functioning around us, that there's other people that we can be the source of love for and get from. And some of us, when we get into relationships, we kind of put all of our eggs in one basket and then give that person our basket and say, here you go. Here's my basket of eggs. Now make sure none of them break. And that's not fair. It's not fair at all. So in terms of becoming our best lovers for ourselves, we need to find our friends. We need to create and nurture our community. And you can't, because you can't do this life alone. You can't do your relationship alone, and you can't do love alone. And you're not meant to. You are not meant to do love alone or with just one person. So I hope this video helps you because, I needed to hear it. I'm sure some of you needed to hear it, right? We need to all be reminded sometimes of what we want and what we need and how we can love and what our potential to love in our relationships is. So I love you so hard, and I thank you. Bye.